It is Circa tonight, powered by SharpStack. Matt Brown and Stephen Andress coming to you live, counting down to Thursday Night Football between Seattle and Arizona. A very important game in what has become a very interesting division. Perhaps the most interesting division in all of football. We'll have to talk about that a little bit later. But Stephen, as we get going here, 1.5 pretty much across the entire industry in favor of Seattle. 43.5 pretty much across the entire industry as a total in this one. We did have the small flipped favorite situation that we talked about a little bit last week as well. Insignificant as we've gone through the zero, but again, it just does let you know where the sentiment was in this game upon the opener.
It's been a lot of one-way action on Seattle, really. I mean, I think Sunday night, this was Arizona minus 1.5. Pretty insignificant numbers here, going through zero and still staying under. I know Circa right now, as I sit here at the Sportsbook in Kentucky, at the Mint in Franklin, Kentucky, it did get to 2. So we haven't seen quite a ton of resistance here to the Seattle support coming into this game. I certainly understand why. I am curious to see how many of these guys on the Cardinals injury report are going to make it to kickoff tonight. That's really big for me coming into this one. It looks like, at least before inactives come out, that Seattle was trending in a better direction with the injuries than Arizona was on a short week.
Yeah, so Witherspoon and Love both going to go for Seattle in this one. A big pickup for a defense that was already playing really well. I mean, this was a defense that I think we thought had at least some upside to maybe be, I don't know, let's call it upper half of the league this season. But so far, so good for this team. And now they get a couple of guys back, Steven. So I'm very interested to see how they handle Kyler Murray and company tonight. It is a very pleasant surprise with the Seattle Seahawks team. If you believe in Pro Football Focus, again, guys, I know it's not the end all be all through everything, but through the first 3 weeks of the NFL season, Samuel Darnold is your number 1 graded quarterback in all of the NFL. And it is pretty hard to argue with it, Steven. He's been good.
America, the land of opportunity, where even Sam Darnold can put together maybe 2 consecutive good seasons. I mean, I have to come off my prior a little bit here, right? I mean, we thought the offensive line would be a train wreck. It hasn't. Charles Cross has looked good. Lucas has looked good. And I have to give credit where it's due. I was pretty high on Arizona coming into the season. I think it might be a bit of a buy low, maybe at least for the teaser. We'll talk about that in a second. Just if, Marvin Harrison Jr. could do his job and catch some footballs, we might be thinking a little bit differently about this team.
Before I forget this, since you bring up Marvin Harrison, like, I really wish I could give credit where credit's due, but I follow so many really good follows over on the Twitter, and a cool nugget will come through, and I make the mental note and I forget to say who it is. So again, this is not my note. This is someone else's, but and if it's yours, thank you for it. Marvin Harrison, a supposed number 1 in the NFL, a supposed number 1 for this team, a can't miss prospect coming out of college. He has 2 6-catch games in his NFL career so far, Stephen. He does not have a 7-catch game in his NFL career so far, and he only has 3 games in which he has even gotten double-digit targets. And the more I started to think about that when I saw that stat, and I started to go, I wonder if Kyler Murray just doesn't trust this dude that much, or what's going on here? Because again, you and I talk about this a lot whenever we talk about props, and we've done a ton of content together. And like, listen, we just want the opportunity, right? And number 1 wide receivers, we're expecting 9, 10, 11 targets a game. Like, that's kind of what you want out of this, like your true number 1s, especially in games that might have pass heavy scripts and stuff like that. This Cardinals team hadn't been beating the brakes off of everybody for the last year in 3 games. That's not happened. How has he only had 3 games with 10 targets? How does he not have a single 7-catch game? It does make me wonder if there's just something not on the same page with Kyler and him, if that's really affected how this offense has been able to function.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up SharpStack as I reply to you here about this, because it is very interesting to me as well. And if you are not aware of what SharpStack is, if you haven't seen it before, check it out. It's awesome. 7-day free trial, 25% off. Matt and I use it every week. It has a ton of functionality. It has an EV tool to help you find the best bets, but also has this prop screen here so you can very quickly just, check out what's going on in terms of the prop market. And Marvin Harrison going into this game, over under 3.5 receptions with the juice on the over -154, the best price.
3.5 receptions for your wide receiver
Number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nuts, man. I mean, and what's craziest to me about that, last year I could maybe understand it. Rookie year, they were one of the more run-heavy teams in the league. Through 3 weeks, the Cardinals are actually above average in pass rate over expected in the league this year. So it's not even like they've been run-heavy to start the year. He had issues creating separation as a rookie. I haven't checked those numbers out so far this year because we're still early, but I mean, I don't know. Just everything doesn't look crisp with the Cardinals offense to this point. They played a couple of bad teams to start the year, and I basically have to draw a line through week 1 and 2 just because of the level of competition that they played. They gave that game away last week against San Francisco, in my opinion, playing Mac Jones hobbling around with a PCL injury, and no Brandon Ayuk, no George Kittle, still couldn't get the job done. Dropped pass that everybody saw on social media where he's wide open. There was another one they dropped in the end zone that was an absolute dime from Kyler Murray. So if he starts catching balls, I think this team's going to look a lot better. But everything just seems a little disjointed. And now they're playing a defense, Matt, that I think both of us would agree pretty clearly in the discussion for a top 5 defense if they're not there already in Seattle tonight.
Yeah, I have been so impressed with this Seattle team. And I'll admit, I had lukewarm expectations for this team heading in because I didn't know if Sam Darnold's season last year was a product of being around Kevin O'Connell, having Justin Jefferson, having Jordan Addison, having TJ Hawkinson. It just went on and on and on for him. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, you know what? Change of scenery isn't necessarily 100% always good. And it's definitely not 100% that this is going to equal a ton of success for him. Well, guess what? I have because guys, I'm a nerd, right? So I go in and I rewatch every one of these games every single week in the condensed version, not the full version, but in the condensed version. And I've watched all of these plays from Sam Darnold and Steven. The guy's playing at a high level. I mean, I understand this hadn't been murderer's row to start off the season as far as competition for him. But again, you can just tell when a dude kind of gets it and when he's getting it and when he's not putting the ball in danger a ton and when he's not making the bonehead decisions that we saw time and time and time again when he was over there in New York. And I have to, like you said, I have to change my mind a little bit on this Seattle team and start to come around on that. Maybe this is sustainable for not only Darnold, but this level of play might be sustainable for this team in general. JSN has proven since DK Metcalf left town that he can be a true number one. He is a true alpha number one wide receiver out there. And man, you got the two-headed monster at running back. I know we might not have that tonight, depending on how the injury report breaks here. We'll get that in about 15 minutes or so. But yeah, I mean, this has just been, I have to, you and I talk about our priors and sometimes have to get off of our priors. I think that the Seattle team is one that I have to get off the priors with.
I'm there with you. And that's going to lead to the first bet we talk about in this show for me. And we're going to go check out the overall game market here. And you're right, Circa from just before the show started, moved from 2 down to 1.5. I'm actually going to go in a derivative market here and look at the first quarter. And the reason for this is because we're at Circa right now. It's at plus 145 for -0.5 point. You can get the money line closer to around minus 115 instead of just, if it is a tie after the first quarter, you get the push. So for me, Matt, that whole thing you just talked about with Sam Darnold, I think part of it too is Clint Kubiak. And if you look at teams in the first 15 plays of the game and the EPA that they have, he's right up there with the elite teams in the NFL. He's top 5. He's actually second in the league, the Seattle Seahawks offense, in EPA on scripted plays, behind only Joe Brady, Josh Allen, and the Buffalo Bills through 3 weeks. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals are well below league average. They're bottom 10. So I like that first quarter play. I bet it for tonight. And then I can kind of sit back and see Are the Cardinals getting enough protection against a very fierce Seattle pass rush that's getting more pressure than they have a plus pressure rate to blitz rate ratio, which means their blitz rate is lower than their pressure rate, which they're getting pressure with 4 quite often. So that's a cheat code in today's NFL if you can pull that off. So that to me is what I'm looking at for this one. And then I can see when the script runs out, if the Arizona offense looks any better for the rest of the game and decide on any potential live plays.
Yeah. So anyone that has seen any of the content I've done over the last several years, I bet a ton of openers. I'm happen to be on air as the lines are being populated. So it just that's right in my face. So I'm on top of all of this. This thing opened, 1.5 on the other side. I thought it was wrong side favored. I guess the market agreed with me. I took the 1.5 with Seattle. That being said, I know you can't get that, so you don't care what I got. I would still lay the 1.5 right now with Seattle. I think this game has the makings, Stephen, of maybe even a double-digit win for Seattle. And I understand that the Cardinals defense has been a little bit better than we thought that they were going to be, but I will also like to point out that the defense for Seattle is really good on the outsides. I don't expect there to be a ton of success over there. I think there'll be a lot of stuff going on over the middle, which will lead us to, the prop market here in just a second. But that isn't how you go about, scoring a ton of points. If you got to take little 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 yard plays over the middle and, over and over and over again, that can only get you so far. And the James Conner injury, I know might not be it might not be as sexy of an injury as if it was one of these super, super big name backs, but guy's just been solid. He's just been a solid contributor, just a guy that they have been able to rely on for the last few years. I'm not saying Trey Benson is bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I do wonder on a short week just how quickly he's going to be able to come in and just assume that running back one role seamlessly, and so again, a lot of stuff points me to Seattle. And even though I have a point on my side of this, I would still lay the point on the other side with Seattle.
Now that Arizona's in teaser territory, if you're coming in clean, like where you said you would still lay the 1.5, do you like that better than teasing Arizona home dog, low total?
I do. Like I said, I think that this could be, I think there's a world that exists where this gets to double digits.
Okay.
If they are not able to find any sort of success outside of Trey McBride, I think this could get bad, and one turnover in this game might be all that Seattle needs to really kind of clamp it down, in my personal opinion. And so really like them. What are you looking at in the prop market?
Yeah, sure. Let's pull SharpStack back up here again. You know what? I already got your prop pulled up here. So let's start with yours, man, with Trey McBride, and we'll transition over to my rushing yards prop.
Yeah, like I said, the Seattle defense has been very, very stingy on the outside. Now they get back a corner and a safety. I certainly don't expect it to get worse. If anything, it's only going to get better. And I think that means Kyler Murray just has to rely over the middle, where there has been at least a little bit of a soft spot for Seattle so far. And with that, you've got one of the better, if not the best, receiving tight end in the NFL right now in Trey McBride. He loves throwing to Trey McBride. You want to talk about if there's any sort of disjointed stuff going on with him and Marvin Harrison, that is not the case with Trey McBride. He has full confidence in him, throws all the routes to him, coming out of breaks before Trey McBride's even looked at him, throwing the ball. They've got a really, really great rapport. I took over 60.5. I don't know where we're at right now from a yardage perspective. I'd probably play it. I mean, the difference, once you get to 60, 60 to 63 isn't really the craziest thing.
Like 62, 63 still at some spots here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, it's for me, that's fine. It's like we said, if I'm talking about a guy that I think is going to be super, super heavily targeted and heavily involved. You can look, you have the reception stuff up. I'm pretty sure his was at either 5.5 or 6.5. So we're talking like 6 or 7 catches for
6.5 plus money to the over.
Yeah. So we're like the book is saying 6-7 catches for this dude. So give me the over on the 60.5. I'd play the 62.5, 63.5 that's out there. I think that's perfectly fine. when we're talking a couple of yards where we're in that territory, the couple of yards matters for the dudes that we're not getting any volume on, Steven, obviously. Like, if we're talking about a guy who's only going to catch 2 balls, and the difference between 23 and 27 is pretty huge. The difference between 23 and 25 even could be pretty huge when it all comes down to it. But we're talking about a guy who's supposed to get 7 catches in this game. So I'm not as worried about the 3 yards as I would be for somebody else. So Trey McBride over the middle, safety valve all day long. And go in, compare, contrast, just like Steven did over at SharpStack.
Fun fact, Trey McBride in his first 2 games against this Mike Macdonald defense last year, 14 and 15 targets.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah. One of those was only 7 for 70, but the other was 12 for 133. So I like your angle there for sure. I'm going to the rushing yards market, Matt. Okay. Let me pull that up here. And it's second week in a row, I'm taking a quarterback to go under his rushing yards. Worked out well with Josh Allen last week. That was more about not needing to run against a team that's nowhere near the caliber of the Buffalo Bills. This one's a little bit different. I think this is about Mike Macdonald, who many in the NFL circles respect as one of the best defensive game planners in the league. If you remember when he was DC for the Baltimore Ravens, he single-handedly took the MVP trophy out of Brock Purdy's hands on Christmas night with his ability to change up week to week how much man and zone they play and confuse quarterbacks. So last year, Kyler Murray in his 2 games against this Mike Macdonald defense had less than 15 yards rushing total. He just did nothing. And I think that's one of the big things that Seattle is going to try to prevent. It's not like the Arizona Cardinals have a ton of outside wide receiver threats that they have to worry about. I think they can afford to spend a guy in the middle spying on Kyler Murray. So I bet this at under 31.5. We are all over the place right now with this. It's I know 4 for 4, our friends who host us here on the YouTube channel, they put out a release on Kyler Murray under rushing yards. And I think maybe some people bet it back after that. So there's been some disagreement, but we're anywhere between 28.5 juice to the over. And you can still get an under 31.5 at -115. So I just don't think Seattle is going to let Kyler scramble around and get extra yards when that's one. To me, that's the second most dangerous aspect of this Cardinals offense right now behind Trey McBride.
So here we go. Inactives over on the Cardinals side: Will Johnson, Zay Jones, Xavier Thomas, Will Hernandez, DeMontre Jacobs, and Travis Volklick. So, Will Johnson, obviously, Zay Jones coming in, it was expected. Concussion didn't clear the concussion protocol and all of that. But I mean, all in all, I think not the worst thing.
I did not hear you say Paris Johnson or Evan Brown, correct?
Yes, correct. So the
offensive line is fully healthy for tonight. Although we'll see how if the left side's banged up against and hold up against this elite pass rush.
Over on the Seattle side, Eamon Worry is out as expected for them, but there is no Charbonnet on this. So Charbonnet is going to go tonight. So they will have both running backs, him and Ken Walker, out there. And again, as expected, we do have Witherspoon and Love that are going to be going as well. So Eamon Worry is certainly a loss there, but you get a safety back in Love tonight, and you get a running back tonight in Charbonnet.
Charbonnet is active, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Kenneth Walker rushing yards sitting around 50.5. So that's probably why it seemed a little low to me, but with Charbonnet back, that makes more sense. They liked Charbonnet coming into the season. Walker missed a lot of preseason in camp, and they really like what Charbonnet was doing. That's what most of the beat reporters were saying. So the other big one here in terms of, the side, Matt, Will Johnson not being out matters, in my opinion, for the Cardinals defense. They already lost a couple of corners coming into the year. And the fact that this rookie out of Michigan played so well the first couple of weeks really masked that. But now that he's out, they're getting pretty thin in coverage in the secondary. So this could be a big JSN game. That's been bet up. A couple of services put out releases on JSN over 6.5 receptions. That's the other side of this that, I wanted to buy low in Arizona, but I have real concerns about their pass coverage in this game and the cluster injuries they've now had at the cornerback position.
And I'm also going to say this, Steven, and again, this is my own personal opinion. This is not anything that I can say, but like, Paris Johnson missing on Sunday and now coming back on a short week. I wonder about these offensive linemen, right? That like come back on short weeks like this and how effective that they can be. So that'll be something I will be taking a look at early on in this game. If
it's a knee injury too, it's a knee.
If he looks like he is compromised, then I do think that's something that we can really look to take advantage of, probably with in-game stuff. So again, you don't want your left tackle out there hobbling around. So we will see. We'll see how that all goes. We'll circle back around with all of our picks here, and if the line changes as we are on air, we'll let you know there as well. But let's go ahead and start to get through some of these other games, Stephen. And we're going to be heading over to Dublin, Ireland. We're going to get the Vikings against the Steelers. This is going to be the Carson Wentz version of the Vikings. And this is going to be the continued bad version of the Steelers that are defying the, all laws of football gods out there and figuring out how to somehow get W's. 2.5. 2.5 in favor of the Vikings, and 41 the prevailing total. You can find a 40.5 out there as well, if that tells you anything here on this one. Stephen, again, I don't know what Carson Wentz brought to the table. He didn't really have to do much last week. Browning threw the ball as many times to his team as Carson Wentz threw it to his team. And so that said, I believe that they're favored in this. That defense is very good. And again, if you rewatch these games and you go in and you look at the advanced statistics, you look at the stuff that really matters as opposed to just the surface statistics. I told you that Sam Darnold a little bit earlier in this very program was the number one rated passer in the NFL through the first 3 weeks. There are 36 qualifying passers according to Pro Football Focus, and Aaron Rodgers, by the way, there's 32 teams in the NFL. I just want you guys to remember that. There's 32. Aaron Rodgers is 34th in the NFL, like in passing grade through the first 3 weeks of the season. He's washed, Steven. He's no good. This team isn't any good. This defense stinks as well. I believe in the Vikings being the favorite in this one, and I have not yet pulled the trigger. I did miss the best of the number, but that doesn't mean I still can't bet it under a field goal.
Yeah, I'm considering it as well. I think, hand up, full transparency. I mean, we got Cincinnati, Minnesota very wrong last week for sure.
I got that blown out of the water on that one.
But I will say the one thing I got wrong, and I wish I would have waited on when we recorded Thursday night last week, I didn't think a lot of those key defensive players were going to play for Minnesota. It looked like they were trending down, and a lot of them did wind up playing, and that clearly made a huge difference in that game. So I think this is a good week to remind ourselves just how stacked the Vikings roster is, except for quarterback. Mm-hmm. And if they're playing inferior teams in the NFL, there's a good chance that they can mask their quarterback deficiencies like they did last week and still win a lot of games. KOC is a master at that. We've seen it over and over again. So while I hate Carson Wentz and think that his bad weeks are the nut low and his good weeks are still below average, this Pittsburgh Steelers team, to your point, you brought up Aaron Rodgers. I'll double down and say that when under pressure, he is also among the worst quarterbacks in the league this year. And we know that Brian Flores and the Vikings are one of the best teams at generating pressure in the NFL. So that concerns me. On the other side of the ball with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have to work through the noise when you're looking under the hood of this defense. We already thought they were a bad defense. And I think people who just come at this casually will say, well, they played awesome last week. They forced all those turnovers. Turnovers are, it's variable week to week. They're not all that predictive unless it's interceptions with a bad quarterback, but fumble luck is 50-50 every time the ball's on the ground. And the Steelers got 4 of them last week. You look at that box score, they were outgained in net yards per play by more than a yard. That's an enormous gap. They are not playing well. If you strip turnovers out of their EPA and success rate allowed on the season, this is a bottom 3 defense in the NFL. So I am fully prepared for more Mike Tomlin voodoo to screw me again this week, as it has whenever I bet against Pittsburgh over the past 3 years. But good process says under a field goal here seems like a decent bet, even though we're getting the worst of the number at this point. It's moved a little bit. It's still under the key number of 3, though, Matt.
One other reminder, also get also get Jordan Addison back this week for the
That's
for the
big.
Vikings. Yeah, who's finished his suspension, so he is back for them as well. Commanders and the Falcons. Hey, Falcons, hate you guys. Like lost 4 of my 10 survivor entries last week on the Falcons.
I'm out too.
Just a complete no-show. One of the worst quarterback games I've seen in the NFL in a long time by Michael Penix. They're downplaying it, saying like, hey, had a bad game. It is what it is. We'll go from there. 1.5 is the line right now in favor of the Commanders. 45.5 is the total. Jaden Daniels has been practicing. We don't know if he's going to play. Terry McLaurin looks like he is not going to play in this one. Lots of injuries on the Commanders side of things. There's just so many question marks for me in this one, Steven. No play. I mean, I guess a slight lean towards the Falcons, but again, not a strong enough lean for me to want to put it in the account.
Yeah, again, nobody cares about what numbers you got earlier in the week. I was on Falcons at +3. That's a totally different discussion of what it is now. The injuries to the Commanders are obviously, it's hard to bet Commanders until we at least know whether Jaden Daniels is playing or not. So at this point, no bet in this market for me, but I at least want everybody to consider something in terms of the potential of this Falcons scheme being a problem long-term. This was in my notes going into the season about the Falcons offense and wondering what this would look like going from Kirk Cousins to Michael Penix and assuming that it would look different. Let's see here. The Falcons last year, 96% of their offensive snaps were in shotgun for Michael Penix. That was a situation as well where they rarely used play action. And I thought at least at the time that was just because Penix came in late in the season and they didn't want to make too many adjustments from the offense they were running most of the year with Kirk Cousins, who was coming off the Achilles and wasn't mobile. So they just set him back in shotgun for most of the year. I'm like, okay, well, let's give him an off season. Maybe they'll do something different. Go find the clip from NFL Live and Dan Orlovsky and those guys walking through it. And it's still being a problem this year. And the scheme being an issue, not only with the passing game, but late developing blocks with the running game, and it's hurting Bijan Robinson, even though he's an elite running back with an elite run blocking offensive line in front of him. So there are just big picture schematic coaching issues here. They just fired the wide receiver coach this week as the scapegoat. They're moving the OC Zach Robinson down from the box down to the field. Like, this is the all-in game for the Falcons to try and fix it and get it to look right. If not now, I don't know if it's going to get fixed while Zach Robinson is still the OC.
Yeah, it was it was absolutely brutal. Defense is actually still fairly good. It's just, you can't do anything.
Young and up and coming.
Yeah, if your team can't score, nothing you can do for sure. Not on the same page with London, just all kinds of problems going on there. The Saints are on the road at the Buffalo Bills in the largest spread of the season so far. It might be one of the largest spreads of the entire season until week 18 rolls around. It is 15.5 in favor of the Bills at home. 48.5 is our total. Not my type of game to bet. Like, I don't like these over 2 touchdowns because so much of it just comes into how much these teams are going to keep their foot on the gas. And so the Bills with championship aspirations, it's kind of like what we talked about last week, Steven. I mean, there's just a lot of reasons for them not to go out there and take unnecessary snaps and stuff like that. So again, not really my style. There is a survivor element to this as well. You're sitting there in the Kentucky version of Circa. I'm down at the Vegas version of Circa all the time. And this contest is going to come down to, do you use the Bills this week or do you use the Bills next week? And so that is a huge discussion to be had as well. I personally am going to save them for next week. I think next week is much trickier than this week when it comes to trying to pick a survivor team. So I'll take the Bills next week at home against the Patriots as opposed to this week at home against the Saints. But again, 15.5 is just not really my style. You can be up 23 points, and then like your cover is still, it's still in danger, So like, it's just like, it's like you can be up 23 points in the fourth quarter and the cover is still in danger. So it's just not really how I like to bet.
I'll say this: if this gets to 17 by Sunday, I'll take it. But it looks like it's coming back the other way right now as we record. So 17, I'd just do it on principle because I've never seen a spread that high in September of the NFL season. I think there's a third choice with Buffalo too, with not using them either of the next 2 weeks, considering that they're going to be a 3-point or larger favorite. It's projected every week the rest of the season. I can't believe how easy their schedule is. So, but to your point, I'm not using them this week either. It's too high of an ownership percentage. It's less about concern that they might lose and more just game theory and having them for a tougher week. So well said there for sure. I do have a betting angle in this game. I mentioned a first quarter bet in the TNF game. I'm going back to a first quarter bet in this one. I've been waiting for this information to come out. It's one of my favorite things to look at every year. Mentioned how good these offenses look on scripted plays in the first quarter. Buffalo Bills and Joe Brady and Josh Allen, number 1 in the NFL on scripted plays in terms of expected points added. The New Orleans Saints are dead last. So I took Bills minus 3.5 in the first quarter. That's my angle for this game.
Yeah.
Maybe it's crazy.
No, I mean, listen, I think that's fine. You have to get creative how you want to play this one. It's just not a game that you can play straight up, just not one of those.
And I don't have to watch it after the first quarter. That's a huge plus.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's just not one you want to do. I mean, like I think if you're trying to get super cute in DFS and like in big super large field tournaments, if you wanted to run some Ty Johnson lineups or something like that, or some Ray Davis lineups, I think that is a way you could get cute and maybe it pay off, because my estimation is they are going to play the entire fourth quarter, if not the duration of the end of the third and all of the fourth. And so another just kind of an angle that you can kind of go for with that. But what a crap game. What a crap team that Saints team is. And we'll just kind of move on here to another game that is, at least from a spread perspective, supposed to be crap. It is Detroit Lions at home over the Cleveland Browns. They are 9.5 to 10-point favorites out there in the market. It is 44.5 our total in this one. All of the people out there who said the Lions were going to struggle, and all the people out there who said the Lions were going to look completely different because they lost their coordinators, and all the people who said this division is the Packers for sure, no way it's going to be the Lions. Boy, are you feeling stupid about right now. And so here comes this Lions offensive juggernaut yet again, the defense playing very well under Shepard, and they find themselves as double-digit favorites at home against this Browns team that, Steven, we've seen the Giants make the move to the rookie. I don't think it'll be this week, but
not off a win.
But I'm saying, like, but if it's third quarter and the Lions are up 17 or something, like whatever, it wouldn't surprise me to see Gabriel get some more mop-up duty, and then maybe they make the move next week or something like that. But it's just I think this Lions team is actually for real, and everybody that was just saying how they were going to have this precipitous drop-off is probably trying to reevaluate right now.
No bet for me at this point. It was only the Lions. I was confused why the look ahead was 10. And then with the new information we got about these two offenses another week, that it went to 8.5 and hung out at 9. And now the limits went up and now we're back to 10. So that it makes sense to me now. This offense isn't just going to move the ball for Cleveland while Joe Flacco's in there, in my opinion. They also lost their second tackle now. I think they're going to be down both of their starting tackles in this game. Good luck blocking Aiden Hutchinson. Macro picture, Matt, hand up. I was right there doubting the Lions with these two new coordinators coming into the season. I've totally flipped at this point. That was the most impressive regular season win on the road that I've seen in some time last week. I thought they should have won by a lot more. I thought there was an extra pick that Lamar got away with, and they should have lost by more, the Ravens. So my question to you is, where do you have them this week? Do you still have Buffalo, Baltimore, and Green Bay better than Detroit? Do you still have Philly better than Detroit? Because I think right now there's a decent argument to be made with the questions we have about the defenses of Baltimore and Buffalo, that the two best teams in the NFL are actually both in the NFC North.
Yeah, I am. So I'm sitting on a Detroit division ticket. I was never a big Packers guy, and I could be proven wrong still. I mean, listen, just
Sure.
because they blew a game that they shouldn't have or whatever. I mean, like, but I just thought that the line, honestly, I just thought that the numbers attached to the teams had just gotten way, way, way out of hand. And so you got to play the numbers sometimes, which we talk about a ton. I do believe if you look at this, I mean, I still have over on the NFC, it goes Eagles, Rams, and then for me, I have Lions. So in the NFC, it goes Eagles, Rams, Lions for me, but I am okay being proven wrong by this Packers team. It's just sample size again, sample size last year, never was able to consistently put multiple games together. Here we go again this year, stumble against the Browns, who everybody thinks is a bottom 6 team in the NFL.
Jordan Love inconsistent.
It's just very hard, right? It's hard for me to believe in them until I see it. And so I'm not buying on the Packers until they prove me wrong.
Lions are still plus 180 to win this division.
I know, right? It's insane.
It's insane. Pretty wild to me.
Yeah, no, it's full on insane. It is absolutely, it is absolute insanity. This team is getting disrespected only because a team went out and made a trade. I mean, like, again, I think we've seen enough from this offense and defense to realize that they didn't have this giant drop off, so I
think it's obvious for most of us, but I just want to say it. I think it's very important that we all remember that basically the entire defense was hurt by the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So just throw out what you saw in the last month of the season in that Commanders playoff game. It doesn't apply. This is a healthy defense now.
To nobody's surprise, I would imagine. And again, small sample size, but through 3 games, Detroit Lions are the number 1 graded offense according to Pro Football Focus in all of football.
And any given week, even in games where they're quote unquote the underdog or the lower rated team, any given week, they are going to maximize their win probability on 4th down situations, which we cannot say about the Ravens at this point in the decisions John Harbaugh has made through 3 weeks.
Absolutely. Well said there, sir. So let's get to one that is definitely going to have some survivor implications this week, and that is the Titans on the road at the Texans. This is 7.5 in favor of Houston. Yes, the winless Houston Texans at home over the Tennessee Titans. This is 38.5 to 39 as far as the total goes out there. Steven, all of our concerns with this Houston Texans team have come to fruition. The offensive line is terrible. How are they going to score points with that type of offensive line? The answer is they have not scored points. They can't score points. They've not been able to get the ball into the end zone. That said, we're not going to play. We just said we're not going to play the Bills this week in Survivor. This is a 7.5 point home favorite. And we have to at least consider this team at home in Survivor this week. And it would be the hardest click. It would be the hardest click I would ever have to make, but it is a click, right? And so that's something that we at least have to consider. What say you in this one?
If I have an entry that's already used Philadelphia and or Baltimore, then yes, I would agree with you.
Well, I have to save. I'm in Circa, so I have to save Philly for I have to save Philly and I have to save Detroit for the holiday weeks. So I am pigeonholed
Green Bay too, maybe.
And so I am pigeonholed into other options this week, right? So
Bills, Texans.
Yeah. So it comes down to, is it the Bills? Is it the Texans? Is it, there's a little bit of a drum beat for the Patriots, which I think is a little crazy. Also Denver in consideration. So that's kind of where I have to go with all of this. But what do you think about this game from a spread perspective? And then we can talk the Survivor aspect.
On the surface, we are told that points are more valuable with a low total. And this looks like an Army-Navy game with a 38.5 total and a spread of 7 or 7.5. So by definition, on the surface, this should be take the points with the Titans most times. I can't do it. I can't click it. Brian Callahan is a complete disaster. He's 3-17 against the spread. And then there's some just weird stuff going on with desperate times and them trying to throw everything up against the wall to figure out how to fix this. Callahan gave up play calling duties this week, which means usually the OC gets it. He's not. The quarterback's coach gets it because he's quote unquote has experience calling plays. His experience was after Josh McDaniels was fired by the Raiders and he took over for the rest of the season. And the Raiders offense got worse with him calling plays. If you look at EPA and success rate from the first half of the season to the second. So like you expect me to bet that this is an upgrade in play caller. Brian Callahan's still in charge of fourth down decisions. And last week he kicked a 64-yard field goal on 4th and 8. He didn't make it. I think this is total dysfunction by the Titans. I think they're the worst team in the league. And I can't do anything with them right now. I don't know what number I would need to bet the Titans right now. Maybe it's just the under here because both offensive lines are a train wreck. Can I same game parlay every defensive end to have a sack in this game? Is that an option? Like, what can I do here? I'm good. But I just wanted to point that out about the Titans and just understand the level of dysfunction going on in that building right now. And frankly, it seems like desperation.
Yeah, it is. It's just a team that like you want nothing to do with, right? I mean,
they also traded a second-year corner this week, Matt, for absolutely nothing, who was pretty well regarded off of his rookie season last year. So now there's a lot of weird stuff in Tennessee happening right now that I want no part of.
Yeah. And Calvin Ridley can't figure anything out. Like it's just, it's bad. And by the way, it's very rare that a division favorite, a team that was at least a dark horse that people talked about maybe contending in the AFC, their season is on the line in week number 4. Because if the Texans lose this game, it's done. Season's over. It's donezo, And so it is full on season on the line situation in week number 4 for the Houston Texans. Absolutely wild that that's the case. Carolina is on the road at New England. This is currently 5.5 in favor of the Patriots at home. 43.5 is our total. Steven, as I said, there's going to be at least a little bit of New England love when it comes to Survivor this week. Certainly people who have a ton of entries might want to get a little froggy this week and save that Buffalo team. And this could be one of those situations where you could use the Patriots, and there are not going to be a lot of situations where you want to use the Patriots. So that is at least up there for grabs. We get Carolina win last week, but like I said, I don't know what to take from it. I mean, Michael Penix,
right.
It was one of the worst games I've ever seen a NFL quarterback play. Like, I mean, it was airmailing wide open dudes, bouncing balls, horrible decision, late, whatever, like every single thing that you could nitpick about a quarterback. Exactly what happened to Michael Penix last week. It was like he never played football before. So what did you take from that game? What do we do here?
That I can't upgrade the Panthers because of a game like that. At least the offense. I mean, they still only had 4 yards per play in that game, and they were outgained. They won 30-0, and they were outgained by more than 100 yards. That's historically weird stuff. Why are you uncomfortable with Survivor? Because I think this is a buy low with Drake May and a team that just had brutal luck last week against Pittsburgh that moved the ball very well, that through 3 weeks is top 10 among quarterbacks in EPA plus CPOE. And this is another week on the road for Carolina after we saw what they did the first 2 weeks against inferior opponents. So I think it's a sneaky good Survivor play, but you seem to disagree.
No. I don't disagree. I'm just saying that I don't see another click for Houston for the whole rest of the season. Whereas if the Patriots, now again, I was higher on market with the Patriots than a lot of people were, right? So I look at the Patriots and I see a home game against Cleveland. I see a home game against the Jets. I see a home game against the Raiders, like that are still all on that schedule for the Patriots. And so I actually think the Patriots have a little bit of future value, whereas I think the Texans have zero. after this week. So that's the only thing for me is I'm like, well, this Patriots team might be an option for me in a few other spots. That being said, what I'm going to do, I've got 6. And like I said, I decided before the season started, I'm not shoving until I get like later on or whatever. I was going to take the 2 different paths and see how long I could make it and all of that. And so what I'll probably do is I'll probably put 4 on one of the teams and 2 on one of the others, and those teams being the Texans and the Patriots. I just don't know if it'll go 4 Patriots and 2 Texans or 4 Texans and 2 Patriots.
Are you going to do 1 Buffalo or no?
No, I'm saving. I am saving Buffalo for next week and what I think is going to be a very, very tricky week because again, Baltimore and Detroit are off the table for me.
Yeah. In Circa
because I have to play them later, and so that's the thing. So I have to play Buffalo. Buffalo is, I'm basically pigeonholed to Buffalo next week. So I'm playing to win. Like you and I've always like, I'm playing to win.
Split it with 20 people.
Yeah. Like I'm playing to win. You got to use 20 teams. You can discard 12. And the problem is there's a lot of bad teams out there. So if I can get a bad team that is at least playing another bad team at home and is a touchdown favorite, then maybe I got to go that direction. But same deal with the Patriots. I mean, they're 5.5, 6. I'm a Drake May believer. I think the dude can play
big time.
Okay. You're there. Okay.
I think he's big time. I don't think he has a lot around him right now, and he's still putting up really good numbers. So I think he's legit.
Would you play this in like an alt line parlay? Like, could you like take this 5.5 to 2.5? Like you're only asking the books for 3 points and pair it up with like another bet that you like or something, or
I think I probably want to go the other way if I'm going to do that. Just sell it just because we know what the weekly floor is for Carolina and getting their butts kicked. Mm-hmm. But I do see a little bit of value here on the Pats spread just overall. So I think it's a fair point either way for you. If you think about this with what Carolina has closed at in recent weeks here, they closed 4.5 dogs at Jacksonville, 6.5 dogs at Arizona. Aren't the Patriots better than both of them? Shouldn't this at least be what the number was at Arizona when it was 6.5? So I feel like 5.5 is a decent. It doesn't feel good off of the last week that the Patriots did with them fumbling the ball. I still have concerns about the offensive line and the secondary without Christian Gonzalez. So that's kind of what gives me a little bit of hesitancy. Because it feels like just Drake May's carrying everybody right now. Yeah. But just from a numbers perspective, 5.5 seems like it. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm very close to betting that. I just got to think about it a little bit more.
Circle back around to Thursday Night Football, Stephen, real quick. Still 1.5, 110 there at Circa behind you. I can tell you a couple other national books out there are taking Arizona money as you are getting a cheap 1.5 right now at a couple of the different books out there. So you can see right there at MGM cheap 1.5 and whatever. So some
Hard Rock,
Cardinals money coming in, which is interesting. I thought it would go the other direction. So I don't know. Interesting stuff there that we'll monitor before we get off of the.
Also, doesn't take a ton to move it back to that, right? These are insignificant numbers for the most part. So it's not like you're moving from 5.5 to 6 or, even 3.5 to 4.
And of course, guys, you can compare all those lines like Steven is right there over at SharpStack. It is TNF Live for 7-day free trial, 25% off if you go ahead and subscribe. And I'll let you know you are going to go ahead and subscribe. It's a valuable tool. So just go ahead and do it. Jump right on in. The water's great. Trust me. Use it every single day. Chargers are on the road at the New York Football Giants, who in the very, very, very slim chance that they are going to be able to keep their jobs, the coach and GM have decided to go to Jackson Dart. 6.5 Chargers on the road here in this one, 43.5. And I am going to tell you, Stephen, I am hesitant about backing the Chargers in this because I think that Jackson Dart is a much better option for the Giants than Russell Wilson is. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they make this game a little closer than we think. Now could he Could he totally go out there and wet the bed? Sure. But I really liked what I saw from him in preseason. I know preseason is preseason and yada, 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 but I can't get myself to pull the trigger on this one.
Here's what I like to do in situations like this. I don't like to bet what's offered to me at -110 or -115. If you have a strong opinion either way on a game like this, don't you just bet the alts because it's all in play with a rookie quarterback in his first start? If you think he's going to be terrible, bet some Chargers alts. If you think he's live like you think, if he's got some juice, Giants money line, Giants -2.5. You know, isn't that the way to go about this?
Oh, he's got the juice for sure. Have you seen the chain and the mullet and all the stuff? Like, dude's got the juice. Like, I mean, he's
I didn't ask if he had the Riz, man. I asked if he had the juice, if he could play.
Yeah, he's got the juice for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The guy's got it going on, but does that equal success on the field? That I don't know.
Here's the reason I don't want to lay it with the Chargers personally is because of the offensive line issues. We already know about Slater coming into the year. Pipkins as well as Becton are questionable for this game and trending towards not playing. And they had trouble moving the ball against the Broncos with those guys out. And we know the Giants, for all their warts, at least have some good pass rushers. So that gives me some pause. I think it would just be alts for the Giants if I'm going to lean into this, but with the offensive line injuries for the Chargers, I think they're just trying to get a win and get the heck out of here.
How much of a squeaky wheel factor should we be putting in here for Malik Neighbors? I mean, he is so pissed off, and he gets a new quarterback. They're in such a bad state that his line is the same as Trey McBride. I mean, 60.5, like at a couple of places out there. I think you can find 63.5 is kind of the prevailing number like out there. But I mean, like we're talking 63, Stephen, 63 on Neighbors.
Well, I mean, it's projected to be a negative game state, right? I mean, I do think they're going to want to be balanced with Scattaboo back there and being the guy they can give a decent workload to. Yeah, it makes sense to me. You make good points with that. I just don't know what Jackson Dart is still, though. Is this 12 targets and 5 catches? I have no clue.
Right.
No clue.
No, and I agree. It's just, it seems to me, dude, you don't want Malik Neighbors all bummed out about this team. I think like you got to just scheme up getting the ball in his hands. That's what I don't understand about some of these teams with these alpha receivers. Like they just want to be worked in. Like that's all it is. Like you don't have to hit them for 25-yard bombs down the field. Like throw them a 2-yard screen. I mean, like they just want to be worked into the offense. Like it's just in Neighbors, like they for whatever reason, maybe Russell Wilson is incapable of throwing a 2-yard pass anymore or something. I don't know, but they just didn't just get it in his hands like so many times. Just get it in their hands, if this
was 2 years ago and I still felt the way about Brian Daboll then as I do now, it might be different. I've wanted so hard to believe in Brian Daboll after what he did for Josh Allen. And it just seems like he's just not going to be the head coach that can do it. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I will give him a little bit of credit in terms of the scripting. He's actually been top 10 in EPA on scripted plays, the first 15 plays. So whether that's him or Kafka, I don't know, but it hasn't been bad. It's just been the rest of the game that hasn't been great.
Philadelphia Eagles on the road at the Tampa Bay Bucks. This is 3.5 in favor of the Eagles. 44.5 is our total out there. This is pretty interesting. We know no Mike Evans, but we might be getting back Tristan Wirfs, who is practicing, and it looks like they were targeting getting him back for this game, Stephen, because if not, why didn't you just put him on the pup list? Like, why did you start? Yeah. I mean, like it's one of those things like I don't understand. So it's seems to me like they really wanted him to get him back in this one. And that's pretty big. He is one of the best tackles in all of football. And so to say that he doesn't matter certainly would be silly, but man, how many rabbits can Baker Mayfield pull out of his hat? See, seriously, they should have lost last week. It's just like how many rabbits? Because I mean, that catch that Emeka Egbuka made, like along the sideline, had to have been like a 7% like probability catch or something, and then that puts them right in time and they go. There's something to be said for winning games. I'm not taking that away from this team, but boy, this does not feel like a team that should even have a winning record right now.
I wanted to fade both of these teams this week. These are two teams that I would have been buying low on their opponents or selling high on the Bucs and the Eagles for this game. And of course, the schedule gods put them up against each other. Is Wirfs enough to mask the other injuries on the offensive line? I don't know. Wirfs full participant on Thursday today. Charlie Heck is still questionable. He is the backup right tackle. So if he doesn't play, it's a third string right tackle. Cody Mock's on IR, one of the guards. So I don't know if Wirfs is enough to overcome the other injuries on the offensive line. Obviously, he's a huge deal to have him. Chris Godwin, you the same points you made about if he wasn't going to come back and play this week, why didn't they just IR him? The problem is Wirfs full participant today. Godwin goes from full participant to DNP on Thursday. So I don't know if he's playing now. And if he's not playing, then it's Egbuka and like Sterling Shepard and maybe some Cade Otton at tight end. I don't know. So it's just it seems like they're getting the Eagles at the wrong time. And even though the Eagles, I think, have been fairly lucky at this point, to say the least, I still think they have more healthy players.
Oh, and here's the deal. I will say this: the second half against the Rams, they finally started playing good offense. Like it was finally an offense that looked like they knew what they were doing. And if you get that same offense the whole game, they should be okay in this one. I like the thought of if this gets back to 3, which if they announce Wirfs in, it might.
Yeah.
And if it gets back to 3, then I think the play is on the Eagles. At 3.5, it'll be a stay on the side.
I agree. I'm gonna bet the Eagles if this gets to 3. And I think Wirfs is the catalyst. I 100% agree with you. The other thing is too, another defensive line injury potentially for the Bucs as well. They have Cansey on IR, but we'll see whether Logan Hall can play or not. But that's just even less depth on the offensive line against an elite on the defensive line against an elite offensive line in the Philadelphia Eagles.
Who'd have thunk it, but maybe the game of the week is the Indianapolis Colts on the road at the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, yes, this is the best story of the season so far. Daniel Jones gets out of the hell that is the New York Giants and gets in a good system with a good coach and some good players around him and is playing some good football. It is the Rams 3.5 at home, but they are taking that 3.5, Steven. It is a cheap 3.5 at multiple books out there, including at Circa. So we might see this thing get to 3. People liking what they see in this Colts squad. 49.5 is our total.
Very interesting discussion about the spread in this game, because before the season, this was 6.5. And I think you and I would both agree that you have to just throw out the Colts rating from before the season and try and figure it out from there, because this is nowhere near the quarterback play we thought we would get. At the same time, to me, it's very much Steichen over giving Daniel Jones a ton of credit. His snap to throw number is very fast, among the fastest in the league. Steichen is scheming guys open. So I'm tempted to take the number here, but I also don't think this defense is very good for the Indianapolis Colts. So I think the Rams are going to be able to go score for score as well. So what I landed on was, for the second week in a row, taking what I don't think has been adjusted up enough on the Colts offense, and it's their team total. I got plus 100 on over 23.5 points on the Colts offense for this week. And the handicap in terms of the matchup basically comes down to, do I think the Rams pass rush can get to Daniel Jones? And even though the Colts lost a couple of offensive linemen on the interior coming into the season, their tackles have been good. They've been grading out well. I like the tackles. If the Rams can't get a pass rush, their coverage on the back end is very vulnerable. The Eagles completely showed that last week. They still won't have Witherspoon, their number 2 corner, who's on IR. I think you have a very boomer bust defense with the Rams any given week, with a direct correlation to the quality of the offensive line they're playing that week. And if they're not getting pressure, then I think their back end is going to get exposed a little bit, and you're going to get some shootouts here. So I think there's going to be more games than not this year where the Colts team total is like 26.5. So I'm going to just keep betting 23.5 every week I get it.
Yeah, I am. Our first kind of disagreement here on this one. I like the under 49.5 in this one. The rush defense for the Rams is, although the Rams defense overall is good, the rush defense is certainly the worst of the two. Now, of course, this could be how they scheme it up. We've seen defenses in the past be like, okay, if you want to run it, fine. We're just not going to give you a big play. We're not going to let you do what you do. But like the rush defense has not been that great so far. Jonathan Taylor has been absolutely fantastic. Devontae Adams, a DNP again today for this Rams team. And so with that, it looks as if it is starting to be really shaky for him to play. And so that, to me, gives the Colts a real advantage in just locking down on Puka Nacua and saying, whoever in the hell else you have and think that you can go and try to beat us with, go right ahead. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of points in this one. I like the under 49.5. I like it pretty good, actually, in this thing. I think both these teams are going to end up relying on that run game a pretty decent amount. Daniel Jones running the ball as well. He's taken off all over the place. High percentage passes from Matthew Stafford, who has one of the highest completion percentages there is. So like, I have a ton of conviction here that this one actually is going to be a little lower scoring. So give me the under 49.5 in this one.
Okay. Colts win 24-21. We both win. How about that?
There we go. I'm fine. All right. Jacksonville on the road at San Francisco. 3.5 is the number in favor of San Francisco. 46.5 to 47 is our total out there in the market. I'm going to say this really quickly because I don't know how long it's going to last. I took the 3.5 with Jacksonville. I don't think that's going to be out there very much longer. I'm reading post practice comments here from beat writers that I trust in Santa Clara saying that Brock Purdy certainly didn't sound too enthusiastic about playing this week. You have an injured Mac Jones, Juwan Jennings, a DNP again today for this team. Bosa goes down for the season. I mean, dude, I understand Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence stinks to high heaven, but like, it's the other side of a field goal. If this was 2.5, I'd have no interest in it whatsoever. We'd be skipping and talking to it about a different game. But I think I have to come around on the Jacksonville defense at least being pretty good. And so with that and all of the stuff that is going on with San Francisco, held my nose, played the 3.5. I took the 3.5 with that they're giving me, and I'll just move on.
I see your arguments for sure. I've been thinking real hard about taking it with the hook as well. Trevor Lawrence, man, is the reason why I haven't bet it yet.
Oh, I get it.
He's been bad.
Dude, I get it. It's gross.
I don't know who the Niners are playing at quarterback. Like this, they are one of the most playing it coy teams in the league. Like I thought Purdy was playing last week and he wasn't. Mm-hmm. So I got to at least know who the 49ers quarterback is before I make a decision here. If Purdy plays, then I think we actually get some 49ers interest and a better number on the Jags, or at least better juice on the 3.5. So that's what I'm waiting to see. Cause I don't know if Mac Jones can play with re-aggravating the PCL. And oddly enough, their current third string quarterback is also on the reserve non-football list this week, Curtis Rourke. So they might be on their fourth string quarterback. It's in the range of outcomes that the Niners start a fourth string quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Pearsall, although he was back as limited today, he DNP'd yesterday. I mean, like this team is just has run on the absolute worst side of variance when it comes to
injuries. As a 49ers fan, I would really appreciate if they would just replace the entire training staff and just see if it gets better.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking here. The only good news, I guess, is just Trent Williams was a full participant today. And that's yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean,
long list.
Yeah.
Listen,
dude,
when they get healthy, right? Like when Ayuk comes back and Kittle comes back and Purdy's good to go, they'll be fine. They're gonna beat bad teams and probably by margin. That's what the Niners do. And in coin flip games, they've been really good as well. So, but they're not healthy yet, and they're very fortunate to be 3-0. So the other thing too, I think when you're 3-0, you're not in a rush to get some guys back, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know you're playing a little bit with house money. So this is truly it has to be a wait and see for me to just see who I'm betting on or against with the injury report. But the greater points you made about coming off the priors of the Jacksonville defense are really important here, because I do think that defense is legitimately good. And they have been very successful running the ball as well to mask Trevor Lawrence. So maybe this coaching staff is just sharp enough, kind of a JV Minnesota Vikings, to play well enough to cover up the Trevor Lawrence warts in lower scoring games. We'll see.
We have the Ravens on the road at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites, though this is heavily juiced at this point at nearly every book. So this might hit 3. 48.5 is our total here in this one, Steven. We are going to leave week 4 with either the Ravens or the Chiefs being 1-3 to start the season, or I guess 1-2-1. We could have a tie. Okay. It could be 1-2-1. Very likely to be 1-3. I'll say, we could get a tie. So I'll retract my statement there. But that being said, I think with both these teams being 1-2, you have a much better feeling about the Ravens than you do the Chiefs. That said, Xavier Worthy expected back this week. So that should be at least some sort of uptick for this offense. But man, it's been a rough watch. It's been a rough hang for the Chiefs. That's for sure.
I'm still in the same spot with the Chiefs as I was last week and the week before. That until Rashee Rice comes back, I have concerns about this offense. You very astutely pointed out the downgrade to the offensive line from the talent they had a year ago. I just have a hard time betting them against the elite tier of the NFL, even though they are at home. Certainly understand the Ravens are on short rest. I'm probably going to bet Ravens 2.5. I'm thinking very hard about it. I'm gonna make a final decision tonight, but it's never the Chiefs for me. Chiefs through 3 weeks. What has kept them afloat in the past couple of years without having an explosive offense has been their defense. And if you adjust for garbage time, which my definition is removing plays where there's less than a 10% win probability at that point, if you adjust for garbage time, the Chiefs defense is 23rd in EPA per play allowed and 25th in success rate allowed. It's not the same defense. So yeah. I just, against this offense, I think it's going to be a problem.
Look, they can go out and prove me wrong. Xavier Worthy might make a huge difference. I don't know. Because again, we don't have a lot of sample size of him making a huge difference for this team, but like he might. And so we'll see, but I got to see it first. I can't go bet them.
The buy low for the Chiefs is coming. I just don't think it's yet. I think you just wait till he's back, till Rashee Rice is back. And if you look at their schedule, it softens up a little bit after that. They still have this Baltimore game, 2 weeks. They get Detroit coming to town as well. Buffalo week 9 before the bye. I mean, this team could have 5 losses after week 9. Maybe then is the buy point on Kansas City.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly one of those things where for me, I will also, we threw up this flare before the season started. I'm going to throw it up again. If the Ravens do lose this game, Steven, they are going to be 1-3. Their schedule lightens up so much after this. Like it is going to be the team you want to get a piece of big time. So just remember, guys, if this thing goes against them, division bets, AFC bets, whatever, any sort of bets you want to make, over win total bets, all the stuff like that. It is time to pounce on that team for sure. Bears are heading out this way. They're going to be at the Death Star taking on the Raiders. And this is currently sitting at a point and a half. Pick 'em actually over there at Circa. So Circa, listen, This is like the only time where you can say that the Circa number might be compromised because the Raiders are the home team here.
Yeah.
And so like whatever, it's about the only time you'll ever say that. But again, pick them at Circa, point and a half everywhere else. Steven, 47 and a half is our total here in this one. What do you think about what we saw from Caleb Williams? I do think that Caleb Williams showed me enough to where I'm not ready to completely bail on this Bears team.
I'll go that far, but
Okay.
I don't think I'm going farther than that. Again, look at the splits of scripted versus non-scripted. Caleb and Ben Johnson have been among the best in the league on the script and not good off the script. So among the worst in the league off the script. At the same time, I think the Raiders' offensive line is an issue. It's like they are the nut low with run blocking. Genty's getting hit behind the line, so it's just all the Geno Smith show.
Did you see that he has more rush yards after contact than he has before contact on the season?
Yeah,
he has like 125 rush. He has technically 124 rushing yards on the season, and he has 125 rushing yards after contact.
So here's the angle I thought about. If you believe that maybe Ben Johnson can do enough with Caleb Williams, his coach of the year price is 3 to 4 times higher than it was before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this coin flip game against a very bad defense. They have at Washington next week. We'll see if Jaden Daniels is playing or anywhere near 100%. Doesn't look like Terry McLaurin's going to play in that game either. Home against the Saints. Obviously tough game against Baltimore, but then at Cincinnati without Burrow and home against the Giants and a rookie quarterback. The schedule I thought was going to be really tough coming into the year for the Bears has certainly lightened up on paper at this point. And I haven't even mentioned 2 games later in the year against Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Ben Johnson's 20-1 to be coach of the year. Yeah. If they make the playoffs, doesn't he just win? I mean, it's at least him and Steichen at that point.
I was going to say it depends on what happens in Indy. But yeah, I mean,
but Steichen's like 3-1. Ben Johnson,
right. No, that for sure. Like that's I think that's at least something you add to if you make portfolios like I do with these various awards, and anytime they get to kind of 20-1, it's like if you got 4 or 5 guys in the deal that where you're going to make money no matter what, as long as one of them gets there, then I think that is I think that's a good look, Steven. I like that one for sure.
All right.
As far as the game itself,
coin flip to me, really.
I think
Bears.
I think the Bears. I like the Bears. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the deal. You can. This is a teaser. I think you can play because I don't think the firepower exists in Vegas right now to blow anybody out. Like I don't think that. I do not think that they have what it takes, because something is not right with Brock Bowers. I mean, like, there's just no way this dude, who is a mismatch for like every single person on the field, isn't just out there dominating every single week. Like, I mean, this dude should be averaging 75 yards a game, like, period. You can't line him up against linebackers. You cannot put slot corners on him. You literally have to put like good corners on him to cover him, but then he has such a size advantage. Like, I mean, I know that there was a scare and he was trying to say everything was fine, but then he played with a knee brace, and like, Steven, anytime you play with a knee brace, then things aren't fine, because like you feel like you need to wear a brace, and
he's playing through something in my opinion.
Like he's playing through something there, which, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna, I don't know, but I don't know. The Bears sucked me back in, dude. They sucked me back in. I'll
just say
the Kool-Aid. In the
Cowboys
offseason.
Defense made Russell Wilson look good too. So I'm nervous about that. Jalen Johnson still on IR, the top corner for the Bears, so nervous about that. But the Raiders defense is extremely one-dimensional at this point. So I think you can commit more guys to helping against the pass. So I agree with that.
Packers on the road against the Cowboys is 6.5-point favorites. 47.5 to 48 is our total. Green Bay completely blows it last week. Can they make up for it this week? Micah Parsons homecoming. You get a Dallas team down CeeDee Lamb. That said, Zach Tom looks like he's not going to be in there for Green Bay. He's an offensive lineman that matters. Steven, how do we feel about this? Green Bay's got to win by a touchdown.
As far as the side, alts. If the Packers win, I think they could blow them out. I mean, the Bears defense was missing their best player at the second and third level last week. And once CeeDee Lamb left the field, the Cowboys couldn't do anything on offense. Mm-hmm. So, and it also looks like they're going to be without a second offensive lineman coming into this game with their center, Cooper Beebe, already on IR. So now you're down 2 offensive linemen against Micah Parsons and company. That's really bad. You're down CeeDee Lamb. That's really bad. So I actually took some bonus bets and put it on Packers minus 16.5 at plus 320. That was one way I looked at it. The other angle is just the under here. I just took the real money bet for me was under 48. 47.5 is fine as well. Again, the offensive line issues for the Cowboys. The Packers also have offensive line issues as well, with Zach Tom likely being out for this game. And I think in a positive game state, the Packers have shown that they're more than willing to just run the ball and run out the clock. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, I do wonder a little bit about this one, if this is kind of like the Tucker Kraft game as well. Like it just seems to me like if you're looking at this and it's like, okay, if Tucker Kraft is kind of your de facto one right now, doesn't he just like Dallas Goedert had 7 catches in week 1 against Dallas, right? I mean, like in I would probably, would you say Tucker Kraft is better than Dallas Goedert at this point in his career? Or no?
Sorry, I lost you there for a second. Say it one more time.
I said, would you say that Tucker Kraft is better than Dallas Goedert at this point in his career?
Yes. And I think Kraft is the Packers' number 1 wide receiver.
Right. That's the same with me. So I think I like me some Kraft stuff. I'm going to be looking at Kraft props here in this one. All right, let's go to the game that you put on a rocket, shoot into the sun. If you want to do the Jets and the Dolphins, this is 2.5 in favor of Miami at home. It is 44.5 to 45.5 out there in the market. I mean, Steven, go to town. Go to town. Like, what do you do here, dude? I mean, like, go to town. We don't know. Here's the other reason why we can't bet this thing. Like, we don't know if Justin Fields is going to play. He hasn't completely cleared the concussion protocol yet, even though he's practicing. I mean, it does change the handicap, I think, if he plays. So I don't know.
As much as the Rams screwed me last week, the Jets kind of canceled it out. I felt like I got really, really fortunate with that Jets +7 last week. So I'm not really looking to double down on this Jets offense, but if it gets to 3, I'll at least say it would only be the Jets. I'm not laying 3 with the Dolphins. I'm sorry.
Oh boy. Yeah. It's just, boy. Yeah, I know. It's what a game. What a game.
It's like, just act like there's one Monday Night Football game at the normal time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll show you highlights in game of this one if they need it.
Bengals are on the road at the Broncos. This is 7.5 in favor of Denver. 44.5 is our total. Steven, we've been talking a little bit about Survivor along the way. I think this is the other option this week for people out there with Denver. If you take a look, 7.5 point favorite, you get Jake Browning, who has thrown the ball to the other team more than he's thrown it to his own team. That said, I'm kind of scared. I know Denver's at home. I know Browning has been bad, but Steven, he's still got Jamar Chase, and he's still got T. Higgins, and he's still got Chase Brown. He's still got Mike Gesicki. Like, would it surprise you in the least bit if all those picks that he threw just ended up landing in the receiver's hands this time? And like, what, it's like, I don't know. Like, I can't do it. I'll admit, I do not have the stones to do it. Like, the Broncos will not be a play for me this week in Survivor.
I can't use the Broncos in Survivor, and I don't want to bet them with this spread because Bo Nix has been terrible.
Yes.
Last week against the Chargers, they had 9 first downs, only a 25% success rate, closer to 50% is what you're looking for. Missed too many receivers downfield. They were +2 on the turnover margin, and they still lost the game outright. Cincinnati's got a ton of injuries, and we know Bo Nix last year, one of the knocks on him coming into the year was most of his success came against bad teams last year. Well, I think the Bengals fit that mold in terms of their defense. They have injuries on the defense. We'll see. I think Cam Taylor-Britt is going to miss again. We'll see, but double check that. But to your point about Jake Browning, just one game where he's just overpowered by an elite defense doesn't really make me come completely off the priors that we had, that he was actually pretty decent over an extended stretch the last time he was the starting quarterback. So I just think I was down on the Bengals coming into the year. So it's not making me rush to the window to take 7.5 because the offensive line is broken and the defense is injured now as well. So it's just a game with a lot of potential outcomes in my mind that I don't feel confident in any of them.
Yeah, if anything, it's probably like a prop game of some sort. Like, I mean, if Browning isn't terrible, then one of the receivers should be able to do something because they're gonna have to throw the ball. I mean, I know you don't want to throw the ball against everybody. They're gonna have to throw the ball. Like the offensive line just isn't good enough to block for Chase Brown. It's just like it's not gonna happen. So there's probably a prop bet there somewhere. There's probably some sort of prop something, but I don't know quite yet how I'm gonna tackle this. But Denver, like I said, is not gonna be my survivor pick this week. I just can't go there. Can't do it.
Do you tease Denver?
I don't think that's bad. I think that is at least okay.
Maybe one teaser with maybe we're not going to tease everything, right, with Denver, but maybe one teaser. I mean, it fits the traditional mold.
Is it Denver, Green Bay? Is that the teaser? Maybe is that the teaser we like?
I mean, I love Green Bay again this week as a teaser after they just absolutely kicked me downtown last week. But you don't like Arizona tonight as the other teaser leg. Yeah, that kind of fits for sure. I'm just looking at the odds screen real quick before we wrap up just to see. I wouldn't tease Pittsburgh just because of all the reasons we talked about. They're a bad football team. Hard to know what's going on with starters with the Commanders and the Falcons game. That would be another. Texans, we talked about maybe teasing them down with the Titans being a dumpster fire. Basically the survivor angle there, survivor pool angle. And then you mentioned the Bears. Bears up. I think that's the one. Bears up maybe. Bears the 7.5 with Broncos -1.5.
Yeah, there we go. That works.
Bears and Packers.
There's the teaser. All right, that's the one that we like. So we can at least throw that one in our account and feel pretty good about it. Of course, Steven is sitting there at that shiny new sports book at the Mint Gaming Hall in Kentucky. Go and check him out and come party with him on Thursdays. He'll say hi. He'll sign some pictures. He'll sign some autographs. He'll do all those things. He'll also let you know that we have gone to 1 at Circa out there behind him. Some Arizona money coming in. So we are at 143.5 currently right now. So a little bit of that Cardinal love coming in here before kickoff. Still have 30 minutes to get in on that, about 25 minutes, I should say, to get in on that if you want to get going. But yeah, down to 1 there amongst a couple of other books out there that have done a little bit of moving.
Yeah, I was wondering when the Cardinals money would come in. It hadn't come in the entire week. It was one-way action on Seattle up to this point. So we are out of teaser range now, at least at Circa. Still some 1.5s out there on the Cardinals. But I doesn't really change my opinion, Matt. I mean, this is basically a pick 'em game, mostly at meaningless numbers and the vast range of NFL outcomes. So I just think that Seattle has some good matchups here. I think the cluster injuries at cornerback are a big deal for Arizona. And I'm going to need to pay to see this Cardinals offense look crisp.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yep. Same with me. I'm on Seattle, like Seattle a lot. Hey, it's down to 1. I would play it at 1. I think that is the bet for me as we head on out of here. Guys, if you haven't done so already, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comment section how you're going to play this thing. Also, get you a SharpStack. TNF Live is the promo code. It is going to get you a week for free and then 25% off. And this is not just for NFL, guys. You can use this for other sports as well. That's one thing we should point out. This is not just an NFL tool. It is for all sports. And so go in and take advantage of what they're doing over there. It is an awesome, awesome tool, and it's only going to get better. They're going to refine this thing, hone this thing down, and make it pretty awesome. So, Steven, another great week, buddy. Another week in which I think there are some games that are super, super interesting, and some games that, like you said, we can feel comfortable about not having to be slaves to the television. I'll put it that way.
I would just like to avoid some bad beats for once this year. After it's been like 2 a week for the first 3 weeks. So I would like things to just be normal for the last 5 minutes of football games, please, this week. I'd appreciate that. Parting shot out the door here. This is the EV tool at SharpStack, which automatically looks at all the spreads across all the books and tries to find some off-market numbers for you. And we're seeing Trey Benson as a value right now at under 60.5 rushing yards for TNF, minus 118 juice. And then a couple others down here across all the sports. But this is just another one of the great ways that SharpStack can make betting smarter and betting easier for you, no matter what state you are in the United States.
Guys, this has been Circa Tonight, powered by SharpStack. That's Steven Andress. I am Matt Brown. Good luck on all your bets in week 4.
It didn't loop. We'll loop it again. Bye.
There it goes.